Hello and welcome. In this lesson, we are going to learn about reflection of light. Scientists represent the path of light using rays. A ray is simply a straight line that shows the direction in which light travels. Light usually travels in straight lines. However, when light hits a shiny surface such as a mirror, it changes direction. This change in direction is called reflection. We see reflection every day when we look in a mirror. Light from our face travels to the mirror, reflects from the surface, and then enters our eyes. Because of this reflected light, we are able to see our image in the mirror. To understand how light reflects, we use the law of reflection. The law of reflection says that the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. We often write this as I equals R. Now, what do these terms mean? The angle of incidence is the angle between the incoming light ray and an imaginary line called the normal. The angle of reflection is the angle between the reflected ray and the normal. The normal is a line drawn at 90 degrees to the surface of the mirror. This means that when a light ray hits a mirror, it bounces off at the same angle on the other side of the normal. For example, if a light ray hits the mirror at 30 degrees to the normal, it will reflect away at 30 degrees on the other side. This rule works for all flat mirrors and helps us predict how light will behave when it reflects. Let's see how an image is formed in a plane mirror. When light rays come from an object, they hit the mirror and reflect according to the law of reflection. The reflected rays spread out, but if we extend these reflected rays backwards behind the mirror, they all seem to come from a single point. This point is where the image of the object appears. We call this a virtual image because the light rays do not actually pass through the image, they only appear to come from that point behind the mirror. This image has several important properties. First, the image is the same size as the object. Second, the image is the same distance behind the mirror as the object is in front of it. Third, the image is laterally inverted, which means the left and right sides are reversed. For example, if you raise your right hand, the image in the mirror appears to raise its left hand. Finally, the image is virtual. A virtual image means that the light rays do not actually come from the position of the image. They only appear to come from behind the mirror. Because of this, a virtual image cannot be projected onto a screen. Now, let's check our understanding with a quick question. What is the angle of reflection if the angle of incidence is 40 degrees? According to the law of reflection, the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. So the correct answer is 40 degrees. Here is one more question. When you look at yourself in a plane mirror, which change happens to the image? The correct answer is that left and right are reversed. This effect is called lateral inversion. So in summary, reflection happens when light hits a shiny surface and changes direction. The law of reflection tells us that the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. A plane mirror produces a virtual image that is the same size as the object, the same distance behind the mirror, and laterally inverted. Thank you for watching.